Hello and welcome to our webinar on protein. In this video, we'll discuss what protein is, what it does for the body, foods that have protein, and special considerations for protein in the diet. Protein is one of three main nutrients, or macronutrients. These are nutrients that the body needs in larger quantities. The other macronutrients are carbohydrates and fats. While all macronutrients play important roles in the body, today we will focus on protein. Protein is found throughout the body, in our hair, skin, nails, muscles, bones, and nearly all other parts of the body. It is made up of smaller parts called amino acids. Think of amino acids as the building blocks of protein. There are 20 amino acids needed in the body. They are arranged in different ways to form different proteins. Protein plays many roles in the body. There are thousands of proteins that make us who we are and help us function. Just like carbohydrates and fats, protein provides our bodies with calories, or energy. Protein is often referred to in grams, a unit of mass. For every gram of protein we eat, we get 4 calories. Protein is needed for building and repairing tissues in the body. These tissues can include muscles, bones, skin, and more. Hormones are messengers in our body that tell our tissues and organs to perform certain tasks. Hormones are largely made up of protein. Enzymes are proteins that help speed up chemical reactions in the body. One of their most important roles is to help with digestion, which is the process of breaking down the food we eat to absorb nutrients and create energy. Our immune system helps to fight infections. Parts of our immune system are made of protein. Antibodies are an example. They fight disease-causing bacteria and viruses. Protein-based compounds can also help with transportation in the body. One example is hemoglobin, which is responsible for carrying oxygen in the blood. Certain proteins, such as albumin, help maintain fluid balance in the body. These are a few of protein's biggest roles in the body, but the list goes on. As you can see, protein is very important. Protein is found in both animal-based and plant-based foods. Examples of animal-based foods that provide protein include meat, such as chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, fish, eggs, and dairy products, which include items like milk, cheese, and yogurt. Plant foods typically provide protein, but not all offer high amounts of it. Examples of plant foods that provide a significant amount of protein include beans, such as garbanzo beans, kidney beans, soybeans, and pinto beans, lentils, whole grains, which have more protein than refined or white grains, nuts, seeds, and quinoa. While both categories of food offer protein, it is important to consider some of the nutritional differences between the two. Let's start by taking a closer look at animal-based protein sources. These are the items that may come to mind when you think of protein. This may be because animal sources often contain higher amounts of protein than plant sources per serving. Animal foods contain all the amino acids or building blocks that we need to make protein as well. This is true of all types of animal-based foods, whether that is meat, fish, eggs, or dairy products. Now let's discuss plant-based protein sources. We mentioned that animal-based foods typically have higher amounts of protein per serving, but that doesn't mean plant foods don't have protein as well. If you are vegetarian or vegan, it is completely possible to get all the protein your body needs with some careful planning. Unlike animal-based foods, plant foods don't typically contain high enough amounts of all the amino acids that we need. Exceptions to this are soy and quinoa, which contain all the amino acids we require. To get all the essential amino acids from plant foods, it is important to consume a variety of protein-containing plant foods. By aiming for variety, you are more likely to consume enough protein overall and all the amino acids we require to make protein in the body. This is because some plant foods have amino acids that others do not have. When we eat protein-rich foods, we also eat other nutrients that come along with them. This can include fat, sodium, fiber, vitamins, and more. Considering the so-called nutritional package offered with each protein-rich food you eat can help you reach and maintain your nutrition goals. To call out a few examples, plant-based protein sources like beans, lentils, and nuts are often high in fiber and lower in fat compared to some animal-based foods. Fish, such as salmon, can be an excellent source of omega-3 fats, a special type of heart-healthy fat. It is also low in saturated fat, which is a type of fat that is recommended to limit for heart health. Red meat can provide a lot of high-quality protein, but it may also contain a high amount of saturated fat. This doesn't mean it needs to be eliminated from your meals altogether, but it should be included in a balanced way. You can also get nutrition savvy by buying cuts of red meat that are lower in fat. Looking at the nutrition facts label can provide a lot of information on not only the protein content of the food, but other nutrients present. Here you can see an example of a nutrition facts label for 93% lean ground beef. When looking at a nutrition label, it is important to first note the serving size at the top. The nutrition facts are based on that serving size, which is not always the same as the whole food package. You can find protein listed in grams. While you're looking at the nutrition label, check out other nutrients present, such as the fat content, sodium levels, and more. Now that we've talked about finding and understanding protein on a nutrition label, let's talk about our general protein needs. Although research on protein needs is ongoing, we have current recommendations to rely on. The recommendation for most healthy adults is eating anywhere from 10 to 35% of your total daily calories from protein. So, if you are consuming a 2,000 calorie diet, this equals about 50 to 175 grams of protein per day. Another way to look at protein needs, per the recommended dietary allowance, is to eat at least 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. For a 165-pound person, this would mean eating at least 60 grams of protein per day. It is important to meet the minimum amount recommended, either 10% of your calories or 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, as this is the minimum amount required for basic health and function. We just reviewed the protein recommendations for most healthy adults, but protein needs can vary based on several factors. These factors can include pregnancy status, exercise levels, medical history, and more. For example, pregnant people need more protein than non-pregnant people. Experts recommend 75 to 100 grams of protein per day if you're pregnant. If you are an athlete or exercise heavily on a regular basis, you'll likely need more protein to help with muscle repair. An example of a health condition that requires special attention to protein is chronic kidney disease. If you manage chronic kidney disease and you are not on dialysis, it's generally recommended to restrict your protein intake. In the early stages of kidney disease, protein should be restricted because the kidneys cannot properly filter out protein waste products. On the other hand, if you have chronic kidney disease and you are on dialysis, it's recommended to increase your protein intake. If someone is on dialysis at the end stage of kidney disease, protein needs increase because dialysis can filter out proteins. If this applies to you, speak with your dietitian about your individual protein needs. Is it possible to have too much protein? In short, yes, it's possible to have too much of a good thing. People who eat diets high in animal protein especially, for example, may be at a higher risk of developing kidney stones. The concerns over having too much protein also depends on the sources of protein you eat. For example, if you are eating lots of red meat, which can contain high amounts of saturated fat, you may be at a higher risk of developing heart disease. A way to reduce your heart disease risk is to get your protein from leaner sources with less fat, such as chicken, turkey, fish, low-fat dairy, and beans. For most healthy adults, it is recommended to have no more than 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. This is in comparison to the general recommendation of at least 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight for basic health. An easy way to ensure you are getting enough protein is to include it with most of your meals and snacks. Ideally, protein should be spread out throughout the day to support adequate intake, increase satisfaction with your meals, aid in blood sugar management, and more. Here are some ways to use your groceries to go or home-delivered meals options to meet your protein goals. Eggs and turkey sausage make great protein choices and pair well with many side dishes for breakfast. Peanut butter can also be tasty with apples or a slice of whole grain toast. For lunch, adding beans, quinoa, or canned tuna to a salad can make it more satisfying and filling. Fish, chicken, lean beef, and tofu can be used in many ways in a dinner recipe. Try out the baked salmon cakes recipe on our website, or make a stir fry with tofu and your favorite vegetables. Snacks are another great chance to get protein in. Ideas for protein-rich snacks are cheese, nuts, or hummus. Pair these items with fruit, veggies, or whole grain crackers for a well-rounded snack. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you gathered some helpful information and tips related to protein and learned just how essential it is for good health. If you have more questions, please contact your dietitian. You can find their contact information here.